All right, so this is really, really, really funny. Um, I'm banned on Facebook. Banned on Facebook. I have like 20 days left. Or banned on Messenger for until June 14th. Uh, I'm completely gone off of Instagram. They won't even if I try to even make a new account, I get right away within minutes of my first post. I get deleted. So they have some kind of Mac. As a matter of fact, if I try to make another Facebook profile on any of my devices, same thing happens. Within my first post, they get deleted. So they have like some kind of a ping on my Mac address and my IP address on all my devices and stuff. So that's probably how they're able to automatically block me because it's right after I make my first post that I get deleted and removed from the platforms. So, anyways, I'm on MeWe right now, and I was arguing with a couple of Globeheads, one of them being Todd, and the other one being Mo Green. And I'm like, I guess a lot of you guys don't even understand where the history of your belief system comes from. And I'm trying to explain to you guys it's a belief system, and you guys can't, comprehend that because you don't know the history of it. So I'm gonna break it down and go back. I'm gonna start tracking it down. Now we already know, there's, and by the way, I don't script none of my videos. If I, sometimes say or how I'll go into deep thought and I have I may even sigh or you know these are things that I do because I don't script any of this. This is all coming from, and again, most of the time I'm gonna point it out to you. It's not something that I'm going to make up or cite without putting the source about it. And even then, we have to always take into consideration that these people that wrote all this stuff had their own lives and self-interest on what they were doing, and even before them, the people who actually lived the experiences and gave their stories out. And so these I have plenty of friends. We sit around and tell war stories, and some of them may be more exaggerated than than what it has happened, or a little bit twisted, or a little bit a little white lie added or whatnot. Some you see that a lot, and that's common at this day and era. So I mean, that's something we always have to take into consideration that these people were people just like us. All right, they had self interest. They had their own reasons for doing for a while, a lot of the ancient Greek stuff went off into was translated and same thing with the Christian Bible. It was translated by Hebrews who happened to hate Jesus. So this is something that we always see. So I'm gonna go through this real fast because I don't want to like spend a lot of time on my on going over this. It's a pretty simple concept. So we all know about the rise of Western civilization. If you don't know that, if you're probably stuck in the 19th century or something, you didn't in your history class you didn't go beyond that. And a lot of people that were indoctrinated only go up to the Western civilization. They don't go beyond that, and so they don't take the time to actually look this information up on their own, and they're just reciting something they learned in like fifth grade, fourth grade, and shit, which is pretty much all propaganda and indoctrination that's put the set so kids can go ahead and continue on with the current socio-economic paradigm that's being carried out at the time. So we have Alexander the Great, Western civilization. So what did Alexander contribute? We can go there, click that. We'll click on a few of these real quick. He had a significant influence on Western civilization, mainly because he introduced the Greek language and science to new empires that he conquered as he tried to expand his empire. So this was a conquering, that he was conquering people. This is not, oh, I'm trying to teach you guys this and you're going to learn it, peacefully. No, he indoctrinated people. And there's plenty of reasons why he did this. Mainly it was to consolidate and monopolize all trade and all cultures into one big. Basically that's the beginning of the new world order right there. When you decide to, put everyone under your rule of thumb and whatnot, and everyone has to follow that. And the way they did it is, Everywhere it was assimilation was pretty big back then. You didn't really kill off you didn't catch prisoners of war and then kill them off. You actually try to indoctrinate them to get back into your, to get on your side. So that goes out to the rise of Western civilization. Alexander the Great had a lot to do with it. Um, let's go. And again, I'll scroll this up and down so you can see who's ever feeling, you want to try to contradict me or debate me about this shit. Trust me, I've been reading this way longer than you have. But you want to go ahead and start from scratch, I go ahead and, I insist. So to go off to the next one, I kind of did put off in order so we can go back. So Alexander the Great and the Library of Alexandria. So the Library of Alexandria is actually a knockoff. Everything that they had there, they brought from the library from the ancient schools of Babylon. So there's an ancient schools of Babylon, and over there in Babylonia, all the rich people, would send off their, their kids and stuff. If you were like rich or if you had clout or whatnot, you would get sent off to the mystery schools, and yes, they did exist. And here's where we're gonna go off. You're like, oh, but the Greeks, they measured the globe. Like, no. We'll get into that in a bit. So this library was destroyed. There was all kinds of, the Greeks, they fell to the Romans. The Romans took over. After the Romans took over, we have the Roman Catholic Church comes into power. They continued on with the Ptolemaic cosmology, which came from the Hellenistic period. Now, the Hellenistic period is like in between. So I'll just read it to you. So relating to Greek language, the culture, the death of Alexander the Great to the defeat of Cleopatra. So after Alexander the Great died, Ptolemy takes over. And that's where the ancient school of Alexandria comes in. And I mean, we have students from that time that were known, like Eratosthenes. That's one of the ones. That was the most prized student that they had. I thought you guys are like, oh, but the Greeks measured the globe. No, he was a cult leader. Erato was a cult leader. Okay, and we'll get into that. I'll show you guys proof of that right now. So this is after he dies. You have the Ptolemaic kingdom comes into power. So Hermes Trismegistus, okay? So Hermes is a legendary Hellenistic figure that originated as a syncretic combination of the Greek god Hermes and of the Egyptian god Thoth. He is the purported author of the Hermetica, a widely diverse series of ancient, blah, 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 intellectual history, occult, early modern Shakespeare. This goes all the way to Shakespeare. And this is something that is not, that's, of course, I pointed out easily Wikipedia, but I could easily scroll down. There's books that are being sold on Amazon that are giving up this information already. There's the Collector. That's a good place to find where people are like. Then you have the Emerald Tablet of Hermes. Now we're just getting started. So supposedly Erato was one of these guys. There's a lot of this is like Jesus the figure. And then Jesus the character and Jesus the person. There's a lot of controversy about Hermes. Was he real? Was he not? Was he Egyptian? Was he Greek? Who was he? But supposedly this guy had a bunch of information, and it goes back like way back. There's stuff on the Book of the Dead, that Hermes was talking about. So we don't know how far this goes back. This is the most ancient religion right here. Okay. We'll move on to Hermes and Erato. Like, I'm going really fast through this. Like I said, I'm not gonna indoctrinate you or brainwash you or spoon feed you. I'm pointing you guys in the right direction. Feel free to go ahead and read this stuff and then come back and argue with me if you want to. But I know you're not. So here's Erato. There's another Wikipedia. Eratos and Hermes. It's right there. It's pointed. Eratosthenes in the Hellenistic period, 500 BCE, 300 C. Now again, these guys eventually fell to the Romans, and the Roman Catholic Church is actually the bank and the brains behind the Romans' rise and all that. Now, in the end, after the Romans became They began with the bishops and all that other, and they started taking over everything. This is coming back all the way from Erato and all this other stuff, and it's right there. You could easily look it up. He moved to Alexandria. He had poems of Hermes. He wrote something about Hermes. I don't like Erato because he was a cult leader, and the way he got killed is the only way I respect is the fact that he refused to go through the beanstalk, field of beans, which he felt was a sin, and he rather would stand there and fight for his beliefs, even though they were ridiculous. But he died for his beliefs, and I gotta respect that. So Hermes, Poimanders, the divine Poimanders of Hermes. This is a really, really crazy good book, the Corpus Hermeticum. Now look, here's where okay, if you don't know who Poimanders is, I'm not gonna tell you exactly, but I'll tell you that there's a magical dragon, and he talks about leaving your body because your body is actually connected to celestial planetary spheres. Here's where the worship of the sky comes into play. This is before the Catholics, before this is around the time that Erato was around, and actually it predates him. Oh, excuse me. Like I said, there's stuff in the Book of the Dead, the ancient Book of the Dead, from that is written in the same stuff that Hermes is talking about, and I suggest you guys read that book. It's not just a book; it's a book of books, and it's supposedly ancient. Who knows how much of it is actually what was actually written? Because, like I said, this goes back, wow, thousands of years, and being translated from place to place, being that the alphabet is weird. Like there's you can't tell a Mexican joke in English because it's not gonna be funny. There's puns and there's riddles and there's similes and all kinds of other stuff that go to play when you're telling a joke or some of these stories are allegories and whatnot. And they have some kind of a symbolic meaning behind it. Just like the Bible. And so here we go. That going to the Bible, supposedly a lot of the stuff that Moses talked about is hermetic. Like so this predates the Bible itself. Okay, it predates all of, and I'm pretty sure most of you already know that the Bible itself is a knockoff of another knockoff of another knockoff. Because before humans could actually start writing this stuff down, they were speaking it. They weren't writing it; they were just speaking it. And some information was meant to be sacred or secret, and so these things were not written down. And if they were, they would be written down in form of riddle in case they got found, and blah blah blah. So moving more on to it. Here we go with the Hermetic, the Hellenistic legacy, planetary magic, Hermetic initiations of spheres and self. Hermes. I'm telling you guys, look, Greek religion and mythology. I'm sorry, well, I kind of feel sorry for you guys, but I don't, because when I learned all this, I learned it by myself. There was nobody sitting here like pointing. Look, Simon, look at this. I read this on my own. I was like, what the fuck? And that's how flat Earth versus sphere started, because I was able to understand all of this. Okay, Hermes is an Olympian deity of the ancient Greek mythology. This is about sphere, the wings and the sphere. It goes on and on about some weird spheres. Your head is a globe. The mind is a globe. So we're on a globe, just like some real ridiculous shit. And this goes back to atoms. Like we're made of small little globes. And this goes on to Newtonian gravity, where they're basically everything is modeled off of a form of playing billiards. With the eight ball, they put the eight ball in there. Don't knock the eight ball into the black hole. That's all of that. All everything about Newtonian shit is playing with balls on the table, which came because they were trying to they felt godlike because of all of this stuff that they learned about Hermes. It's all about celestial spheres and planetary spheres, and you leave your body, and then this is the first things about like that your soul would go into the heavens, and then they point up into the sky at night. On top of that, it's darkness and night. It's night. They're worshiping the night. They're not worshiping the day. A lot of them are like, oh yeah, we're we're heliocentric and blah blah blah. But heliocentric means that there's light and then there's darkness, and so you have to give equal amount of if you're, especially if you're into all the spiritual stuff, and see, here's the problem: there, Hermetic teaching is monotheistic. They believe it's a, one is all and all is one. It's not Gnostic. If you guys know about this and you're mixing this up with Gnostic, you're wrong, because Gnostic is dualistic. Okay, Gnostic is about the darkness is evil, straight up evil. Like there's just no way around it, and that the light is good. Okay, that's the difference. All right. So moving on. We'll move on a little bit to a little bit more of the celestial magic, revolutions of the infinite spheres from Hermes. This is on JSTOR. Like I can go on and on. Like this is not like, you guys can't escape this. This is right here. You know what I consider all this internet? It's an infinite scroll. This is the, you want to talk about the Bible? I don't know if it's true or not, but it just makes sense that this, prophetically speaking, biblically speaking, you would consider this the scroll that was sealed, because there was no computer or technology to release it, and the light, meaning the electricity, meaning the electromagnetic forces, released this infinite scroll onto humanity. We could keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. That's all weird, but it's because the way the human mind is. Everything that we create is relative to us humans, to how we think, so people are like, oh, we live in a holographic universe. We invented holographs, dum-dums. That means that you would have to sit there and say there's some kind of divine technicians that are running this hologram. See what I'm saying? So I pointed you guys in the right direction. You can't tell me that you guys did. Oh, we're not Catholic. Yeah, you're technically you're not. You're worse than Catholic. You're something that the Catholics took over. You go back all the way to Hermes and celestial spheres. Okay, I could show you images of this shit. It's fucking ridiculous. Look at this shit. This is what you guys are doing. This is what you guys are. This is your religion. Look at this crap. Look at this crap. Look, that's your religion. Celestial spheres and shit. All right? Don't tell me that you guys are not part of a religion. You are. You're worse than a religion. You're the religion of religions. Because see, your main god is Baal. And Baal doesn't hate the other gods. He likes the other gods because he wants to rule them. So Baal will lie to the other gods and get the other gods to comply with him, because he's that good of a fucking liar. Okay? So if you want to talk about, like, I could go on and on about the philosophical, implications of it. But what I'm saying at this point right now, you are not part of science. You're not. You did not float up. You did not look down upon the globe like a god. You cannot hold the world in your hand. All right? You're not holding my mind in your hand. Okay? Because I know all about the globe mind and the cosmic mind and all that hermetic shit. You don't even probably understand what I'm saying right now. Until you finish reading and go through all this, you'll probably gain an understanding of why you're dumb and stupid and actually believe you're on someone's globe that you've already given up all your rights to. Okay, at this point, we don't have any more rights, because this is a materialistic, worldly, ideological view of reality. That's what it is. So, there it is there. I'll go ahead and let you guys get on it. You have a lot of reading to do. This rise of Western civilization came from faith. A really ancient faith. A really evil one that brainwashes humanity and then takes over. It twists you had your own beliefs. It comes and it twists your beliefs and you get sucked into it. It's like a blob. It's called a simulation. The more it moves and the more it expands, the more twisted it gets. And everyone's running around with their... Basically, that's the story of the Tower of Babel. Everyone's babbling the stupidest shit, talking about they're going to make it to the moon. That's lunacy. That's lunatic. Okay? Go on. Have a good time trying to catch up with all fucking real education. Let go your indoctrination and try to get educated.